Hey guys, so you don't have this notes outline yet, so I want you to go ahead and pause this so that you can fill in your notes outline and glue in those examples that I have for you, and then go ahead and get started so you can just pick up right where I am and you're not playing catch up the whole time. Alrighty, so our last unit was on one variable statistics. So prime examples that we used, we took a survey and there was one possible type of outcome. So the number of the number of siblings you have, that would be categorical data. Okay, there's one type of response. Finishing times for the 100-yard dash. Again, we're talking about seconds. There's one type of response. Well, when we get into two-way frequency tables, we're actually talking about two categorical variables. So there's a possibility of different outcomes. So two categorical variables. Okay, they can be represented using a two-way frequency table. Now these are also known as contingency tables. You know, math terms, why we need so many for one thing, I'm not really sure. Okay, so first thing on the left is telling us to complete this frequency table. So let's look at the information given and go through and fill in from there. So I'm going to be changing my pen colors a lot. Well, you know me, you're used to that. Okay, so a survey of high school students were asked if they play video games. So there's a couple different answers. You could say, yes, I play video games, or no, I do not. Now, as of me, I am female, so that's one type of response. We're also breaking it down to our males. That would be another type of response. Do you see how we have a couple different things that can go on here? So that's why we have two-way frequency tables. I'm going to write a little bit smaller and you'll see why in a minute. So it's saying out of 129 males, 60 did not play video games. Okay, so 60, drop down. 60 did not play video games. So I'm looking at my males, and 60 do not. Now what am I got that 129 for a reason. What does that mean? Okay, out of 129. So out of telling me, hey, that's a total. So out of 129 males, so total males goes here, 129. Beautiful. That's off to a great start. So now let's go on to the second batch of information. So of the females surveyed, so again we're talking about females, 65 did play video games. So of the females, 65 did play video games, while 85 did not. Change again. That way if you are losing track of what I'm doing, hopefully you can follow along with my colors. You know me, I love my colors. Okay, so 65, 85, 60, 129. Everything we were given, that is already in our table. So we need to go through and figure out, all right, how do I fill in the rest? So total. I love that this is all nice and labeled for us. Totals. What are totals? Totals. You know, like a fancy word for a sum. That's what we want to do. So we need to go through and we need to find the sums. Like the sum of all the people who do not play video games. If I find the total, I'm going to add my 60 and my 85, and I'll get 145. Okay, here's another sum. I can find the total number of females. 65 plus 85. So what's that? 0, 14, 15, 150? Is that right? Yep, okay. All right, so there's some totals so far. Now, I need to find the sum of how many males that that do play video games and those that do not give me 129. So 129, I'm going to work backwards. So 129 minus 60 gives me 69. And I forgot I needed to write these numbers a little bit smaller. So I'm going to pause this video and do that and you're going to understand why in a minute. Alrighty, I'm pretty sure I'm where I'm left off. I just had to write things a little bit smaller, and again, you're going to understand why, because we're going to find the relative frequencies and we'll get there in a second. But let's continue finding our totals. Okay, so 69 plus 65, so the total of people who do play video games, 9 and 5, 14, 12, 134, and 5, 145. Okay, now this total right here, I love this because it helps us to check our work. And you know, and I love that I can check my work as I'm going. So right here, this is our grand total. It is the grand total of all the, it's the total of all the totals. Okay, so the total number of people, whether they're playing or not playing video games, whether they are male and female. Now, again, why I like this, because it allows us to check, because this number should be the same for this column and the row. So 129 plus 150 gives me 179. So to check my work, what's 134 plus 145? 5 and 4, 9, sweet. 4 and 3, 7, sweet. 1 and 1, 279. Good job, Romprey. Don't mind me here. 279. Okay, so again, what I tell you, helps me check my work. Beautiful. Okay, now find the joint and marginal relative frequencies. Well, I kind of need to teach you guys what joint and marginal frequencies are first. So let's go through that. All right, now marginal frequencies. Marginal are in the margins. The margins of our data. Okay, so these edges right here, these are marginal frequency. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight those just to emphasize that. So marginal, those are in the margins. That 129, 150, 145, 134, those are marginal frequencies. Okay, now my joint relative frequencies. I want a different color. My joint frequencies, sorry, I'm not even going to touch relative yet, just joint. So joint frequencies, they join two categories. Actually, we're just going to say they join categories because they're not always just going to be a 2 by 2 table. All right, you could have all kinds of different responses, and we'll work up to that. So joint categories, they join two categories. So like males who do not play video games, 60 people. That's two different categories. Females who do play video games, all right, that's another category. So highlight. Oh, there's even a purple highlighter. That just made me happy. Oh, that's not. Let's try that again. Okay, there's a highlighter. All right, so joint, again, females who play video games. It joins two different types, two different categories. Male or female, video games or no video games. All right, so it joins categories. Now, find the joint and marginal relative frequencies. Now, these are called relative because they are relative to the total. Okay, it's out of what? It's out of the whole thing, that grand total. So I'm going to use my red again. So when I'm finding the joint and marginal relative frequencies, now I'm going to do a couple with you, and I only have 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to do the rest so you can do that as well. So joint relative frequency would be the 69 out of how many? Out of 279. Okay, so I'm going to pull up a calculator. What's 69 out of 279? 2, 4, 7, 3. I'm going to go ahead and round to the hundredths. So 0.27, I need to round up, so 0.25. So 25 hundredths. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to stick with plays video games. So about how many females play video games? So 65 out of 279. So the probability that somebody is a female and plays video games will be, oops, what is that? 65 out of 279, which gives me 232, so about 0.23 or 23 hundredths. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video and fill in the rest. Feel free to go through and do that. So yes, this is another calculator-friendly unit. Aren't you so excited? All right, I'll pick back up with you in a sec. All right, so look at your frequency table and look at mine. See if your probabilities match up, if those relative frequencies. Again, joint relative frequencies, all that stuff in the middle, because it joins two things. Marginal relative frequencies, those things right here on the outside in the totals, okay, because they're in the margins of our table. So I'm going to go over here and start. If you need to pause the video at any point, please do so. I'm going to go over here and start answering questions. So how many male students were interviewed? Okay, is this asking for a probability? No, it's just saying how many males. So this is a whole number. How many male students were interviewed? Okay, males who were interviewed, 129. Okay, now one of the interviewed students is selected at random. All right. What is the probability the student interviewed is male? All right, key thing here, probability. I'm going to definitely underline that. Probability, that tells me I'm talking about a relative frequency, okay? I need that decimal, I need that fractional answer. So what's the probability that a student interviewed is male? Okay, well, how many males were there? Again, 129. 129 out of how many people were interviewed? 279. Which we said gave us approximately a 4600ths. So about 0.46. And notice I keep putting that about because I'm having to round this stuff, which is gonna, yes, that's how it all gonna work. Which numbers represent joint frequencies? Let me change my color. Again, frequencies, joint frequencies. Notice the next question says joint relative frequencies. So a regular joint frequency is just those numbers in the middle. Okay, that's 69, 60, 65, 85. Those are my joint frequencies. Now when we come down here and it says joint relative frequencies, that's those probabilities. All right, when it's out of something. Why are there not more colors? You know me, I need more colors. So joint relative frequencies, that's that 0.25, that 0.22, okay? The males who do not play video games. Females who play video games, 0.23. Females who do not play video games, 0.30. Those are our joint relative frequencies because they're relative to out of the whole. All right, so relative between just a regular frequency. So what percentage, ooh, I like it, we're spicing it up a bit. What percentage of the subjects interviewed, ooh, we all just turn into subjects, play video games? Huh. What percentage play video games? So are we talking about males or females? Or everybody? Okay, we're talking about everybody here. How many people play video games? So that tells me I'm looking at a marginal relative frequency. How many people play video games? That's right here. 0.48. But we need to change this to a percentage. So what am I going to do? Hopefully you're remembering we're multiplying by 100 or move that decimal place. So about 48% of people interviewed played video games. That's pretty interesting. All right, so hopefully I didn't go too fast for you guys. Again, you can pause, rewatch anything you need to. Feel free to come in with questions tomorrow. I expect it. Hopefully this wasn't too bad, but we'll see when we talk about it. All right, thanks for watching. I will see y'all in the morning.